When did a game of hide and seek go horribly wrong? My grandma was Jewish and she was playing hide and seek with her brother as kids. She hid well and was very happy, the thrill of excitement from finding the perfect spot. Nobody would find her there. Then, out of nowhere, a group of Nazi soldiers break in the house. My grandma told me this story and at this point, she starts crying. She told me she couldn't see anything, but she could hear the screams of her own family as they were carried away. Her mother, her father, her brother and her sister were all taken that and she never saw them again. She was left alone in this world. It had truly traumatized her to this day and I wouldn't wish it upon anyone. I was and still am horrified at this story. She was lucky to be alive. Hope you're at peace now, Grandma, rest in peace. When I was about 8 years old, my little brother, who was 6 at the time, and my little sister, who was 3 years old, were playing some type of easy hide and seek in my grandparents' backyard. Well, there are woods behind their house. Our sister, being a defiant toddler, ran into the woods and my brother just saw her run in and ran in after her. They were in the woods for hours because she ran in so deep and they both got turned around. Our brother found a hunting post, climbed up it into the tree and found a way out. They then knocked on doors, covered in dirt and scratched up, until someone answered. A woman gave them a ride back because our brother was able to point out landmarks to get back to our grandmother's house. They got back while my mother was on the phone with the cops. They were discussing a helicopter to find them. We were this close to an Amber Alert. They walked a collective 2 to 3 miles. They could have gone miles deeper into rural woods if they didn't keep going one way and find the post. So yeah, watch your damn kids, lol. Telling them don't go into the woods does not guarantee they will listen. I was 2 at time and me and my 4-year-old brother decided to include my 4-month-old sister in the game or hide and seek. Me, being very smart, decided to hide in the bathroom with my baby sister and I thought it was a good idea to put her in the toilet since she was small enough to fit in there. After a minute or two I hear a splash. I ran over to the toilet to see my sister's head in the water. I thought she was just playing, so I left her there. Then my brother came and saw her. He quickly pulled her out before she drowned. We never played again. Was probably like 12 or 13. And because I was the youngest, my friends would always make me seek. I was counting while leaning on someone's fence. Keep in mind that this was happening in the countryside, in a small village where people know each other. So leaning on someone's fence and playing hide and seek is completely normal. While counting I could hear my friends yelling, "Flav, run, run, behind you, run, Flav, run." Of course I ignored them. They used to trick me like this all the time. They would make me look just so I start counting again from 0. Meanwhile I was thinking, haha, you're not tricking me this time, losers. The next thing I know, a friend grabs my hand, pulls me like crazy and yells, "Run." When I looked behind me, there was a drunk man pointing his gun at me. Apparently this girl at first ran away, but then she came back to pull me. I don't think the idiot was actually going to shoot me. I think he just wanted to scare all of us because we were loud. But still, that girl was extremely courageous. I was about 7 years old and we were playing in the dark at Grandma's house. I don't remember the exact reason, but I popped into the game a little late and was waiting on my brother or cousin to come rushing around the house and I was set to beat them back to base. As they came running around the corner, I turned and started to run. I didn't pay attention to where I was and tripped on the wire supporting a newly planted tree. I fell to the ground, my wrist landing on a rock. I didn't know exactly what happened, but I do know it hurt badly. Run to Mom and Dad, bawling my eyes out. Dad took one look and knew what happened, so off to the hospital we went. Into the emergency room and Dad tells the admissions nurse, "We need to see a doctor, my son broke his arm." She got a little huffy and says back something along the lines of, "What makes you so sure?" Then Dad lifted the damp towel that was covering my arm and it was immediately apparent. She just started repeating, "Oh my God." And Dad had to calm her down so I wouldn't start freaking out again. I don't know how much more force it would have taken, but it was a radial fracture of the 2 bones in my forearm, nearly compounded. I still remember seeing a couple bumps on my arm, but not much else. One time in June, me and my younger sister, we were around 5 and 10, decided to play hide and seek. Anyway, I was the seeker whilst my sister, let's call her M, went to hide. I looked everywhere and told my mom that she wasn't coming out after I said that I had given up, and you win. So it was a search party for this small girl with everyone in the house. As the garden was pretty large and filled with trees, I decided to look there, and as she was little, I thought M might have fallen asleep. My grandparents and my mom got worried and dialed 999, emergency services in UK, and they came to the house and asked what she was seen last in, and they even said they'd release the chopper. So anyway, she was found behind the door in the study and learned a good lesson. Me and sister played hide and seek. She was found by cops behind a door. One of my friends was playing hide and seek in a big group at his place when he was like 13 or 14. Their garage was an absolute mess. Like, completely packed with all sorts of random shit, enough so that you had to walk on top of through things, so he decided that it'd be a fantastic place to hide. But just to add another layer of difficulty to it, he decided to hide by laying down on some of the beams above the track for the garage door. At some point he lost his balance and fell about 10 feet down onto a pile of bikes, trash bags full of clothes, car parts, etc. While he was falling he desperately tried to grab hold of the beam he was on and instead managed to barely reach the track for the garage door. His first finger on his left hand made contact right on the last knuckle before his fingertip, and that portion of the garage door track had a V shape to it and severed it cleanly. He landed on the pile of junk bleeding and screaming, and he was rushed to the hospital. Some of his family searched for a while to find his fingertip, hoping the doctors would be able to reattach it, and they found it still cradled in the V-shaped portion of the track. Unfortunately, they didn't know to put it on ice. We sometimes now refer to him as 9 3/4 since that's how many fingers he has. This one time a couple of my friends and I had gone to another friend's building to just get together. We decided to play hide and seek, but in teams instead of having one be the one catching everyone since there were a lot of us. I was on the team that was catching the others. Basically we split off and start looking for the others. I reached the back of the building which is mostly empty, except for a small shed type of structure with a water tank on its roof, which you can climb up to via ladder. I spotted a couple of my friends on top of the roof next to the water tank and started climbing up to catch them. Once they saw me they started panicking, pretty sure one of them just straight up jumped off the roof, but anyways one guy made the impulsive choice to jump into the tank. He probably thought there would be water in it, but it was completely dry, except for a small puddle at the bottom. I saw him jump in and hit the bottom of the tank. I ran to the opening and looked inside, but it was too dark and I got scared cause I couldn't hear or see anything. In the end we had to call the guard to come get him. He was fine, just sprained his ankle, and we all got shouted at pretty bad. Like, comment and subscribe for more interesting stories.